I'm gonna hang up now. All right, good afternoon. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Centers, which features Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. I'm doing a consultation today with Shelly and his wife on Freight Broker 101. Can you guys hear me? Just making sure you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? And I need you guys to unmute yourselves so I can hear you. If you're able to unmute yourself. So I'll wait on that. Typing in the chat. Well, I may have to call you back, which I'll do right now to see. And
Yo.
Are you able to unmute yourself on your side?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello? All right, having some technical. If you guys can hear me, type in the chat that you can hear me. But I need to also see if I can get some to hear you guys, okay? Okay, so they're working on it. All right. All right. So while you guys are working on the volume, okay, can you hear me now? I see you. I see you guys, but I can't hear you. You can hear me? Unmute yourself. Okay, okay. And turn your volume up on your computer. Okay. So are you using like an iPad or? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Okay. So I see you guys are unmuted. I am unmuted and I'm on video too. So I may have to call to talk to you, Shelly, while we are trying to get the, okay.
we're trying to get the mic to work.
Oh, you don't have to. You can just use the regular volume for the. Is it a computer, desktop, or a laptop?
It's a laptop.
So you don't have to use the mic. You just use the volume of the computer. You're just a regular speaker.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm trying to. Yeah, we almost there.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and talk. We can hear you.
Okay, that's cool. So what are some of your base questions that you have?
Okay, we just want. All right. First thing first, want to know like the process from beginning to end. The brokering process. Call a shipper, and ask for, and then, so when do we send like the packet to the shipper, and then, I know once they give us like, either a load list or a lane or something like that.
Okay.
And then we post it on load board, or we, so when do the rate confirmations start to, be passed? Okay,
I got you. I think I understand you. Okay, so you're at the point. So you're past the point where your broker authority is already active. You've already got it active. You already got your MC number for your brokerage, your bond, your insurance, your UCR, BOC3, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, everything ready to go.
Okay, so after you get all that done, then you go after shippers. I usually recommend to newer brokers to target local shippers in your area. Also, find a specific niche that you want to focus on. What I mean by niche, are certain products or a certain equipment type and the type of freight or the commodity or the cargo that goes on that equipment type, like reefer loads, dry vans, or flatbeds, okay? And I don't know what area you're from, like where you guys located?
Well, we're down here in Miami.
Okay. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put Google. So I want to say manufacturers.
In Miami, Florida, yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to view all. This could be a starting point that you can look for shippers under. All these manufacturers, you recognize the interstate, I-95, I-95, I-195, and so on and so forth in the different state routes. But these are all the manufacturers in your area that you can initially set up an appointment with them and go visit them and talk to them and see about moving some of their loads for them. You can target. So with brokers, you have to have a understanding of what's called supply chain logistics. What that means, that's a hierarchy. So you got at the top of that, you got raw material shippers, you got manufacturers, people who take the raw materials inbound and make products from it, manufacturers, you got distributors, you got wholesalers, retailers, and then the end user. So in each of those links in that chain is a potential shipper. Your area may have a popular, may be popular for a lot of manufacturers or a lot of distributors or a lot of, I wouldn't say raw materials in your area. There's not a lot of farms down there in the Miami area, I wouldn't imagine. But
not that many farms.
There's more distribution centers and more manufacturing and centers down there. So you would target those in your area. And here's some examples of some of them right here. You can either directly visit those facilities, or you can cold call them based off of information on the website. If you cold call them, I would advise to have your information about the company, know enough about the company just to be dangerous. You want to know at least what their products are or their product line, you know, to conversate with that person. Get a hold, ask for the logistics person, a logistics manager, shipping manager. Since you are in trucking, Shelly, already, you can actually, the people that you deliver to or pick up from, those are potential customers as well.
Right. I thought about that.
So on the rate confirmations, I don't know if you're an owner, operator, or company driver, if you see rate confirmations from the loads that you get from either your dispatcher or broker that you get yourself, on those rate confirmations, those are shippers and receivers that you are picking up and delivering to. You can start conversations with those people. Say, hey man, I'm an owner operator. I normally deliver or pick up for you guys, but either through a broker or myself, but I'm getting ready to form a brokerage. Is it possible that I can potentially get on your load list for moving some of your freight? Either your inbound or outbound freight. What are some of your tough lanes? What are lanes that you're having trouble with moving freight for? Or what are some of the lanes that brokers already on, but they may have fell off, they may have not moved the load. One of the carriers may have
dropped. Okay, now she got the mic.
Okay, yeah, I hung the phone up, so now we're good, right?
Oh, right.
Okay, so we're good. All right, so we're good. So, all right, there we go. All right, so with the brokering, you want to go after shippers, right? So initially. And then also another question that I would ask for beginner brokers is, how is your back office infrastructure set up? Do you have a TMS system? Like, do you have a TMS system, a transportation management software? So let's say, for example, let me walk you through a scenario. I can't hear you. I lost you there.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no, you back. I hear you now. I hear you. You're back. Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me?
All right. So what you were saying?
So your back office.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of choppy a little bit. But
I'm choppy.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but I think I can understand it. So your back office infrastructure. Let's do this. You can mute that mic, and I'll call you on the phone and put it on speaker.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what we was doing, but then we had just got it right, and then I plugged back up my sound card because I don't want to use my speaker again.
Yeah, because it's kind of choppy right now.
Okay.
So let me mute you guys, and I'm gonna call you on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's better. All right. Yeah, I muted you guys because it was choppy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what I was talking about with your back office infrastructure, when you first form a brokerage and before you get a shipper, you want to have a load board, you want to have a TMS system, a transportation management software, so that you can process all of the load tenders that the shipper is going to give you.
Yeah, I have a load board.
Okay, you have a load board. What do you have? DAT 123 Internet Truck Stop?
DAT.
We got DAT. We got Trucker. You got DAT Express, Trucker's Edge, Power.
Express.
Okay, so that's a good one. Now, what about a TMS system, transportation management software?
No, I don't think I have that.
Okay, at some point, you would need that as well.
That would be like, so that would be like the Excel.
You can start off with an Excel spreadsheet because you may only have one shipper, but let me show you my screen. TMS system, an example. So transportation management software, in my training, I advise people to get a transportation management, and an example of one is called Ascend, and you can integrate your load boards into the TMS system. Like DAT 123 and Truck Stop integrates with Ascend TMS. It's a transportation management software. What it does is it keeps track of all your shippers, your customers, your carriers, the loads, all the billing, payables, and things like that, accounting stuff. It's a one-stop shop. It's like a customer relationship, a CRM, customer relationship management software. So DAT has one called DAT Broker TMS. You might want to consider that. Since you already have a DAT load board, you may want to talk to your DAT representative and see if you can integrate a DAT TMS into your DAT Express. Okay.
All right.
So let me give you an example. I'm a shipper. You call me. We start that conversation. You say, "Hey, I'm a broker. Now, how long has your has your brokerage been active?"
Maybe about a month, maybe 2 months.
Okay. So you go to a shipper and you have that conversation, either cold call or visit them locally, and you convince me, I'm the shipper, ABC Shipping or whatever, manufacturing, distribution. You convince me that I need your services as a broker, as a logistics provider. And I tell you, because they'll either give you a target rate, they'll say, "I need you to quote a lane for me." So when you talk to a shipper, if they say, "I need you to quote a lane for me," they're giving you an opportunity to win their business, okay? So when they say quote a lane for me, the next thing you should ask is you want to ask for their email address, because you need to provide information. You need them to provide you information so you can quote that lane properly. So you as a broker, when they say quote a lane for me, you're going to say, "Okay, where's the lane picking up from? Where's it delivering to?"
Right.
And I don't know if Mrs. Nealy's writing this down, but
Yeah.
okay. So where's the lane? Where's the freight picking up from? Where's it delivering to? How many stops is it?
Right.
What's the commodity? What's the equipment type that is going to go on?
Right.
What is your target rate, Mr. Shipper? What's your target rate? Not your limit, but your target rate. What are you looking to have on it? What else? What is your accessorial policy?
Accessorial. That's that word.
Yeah, it's called accessorial. ACCESSORIAL. Every shipper has a policy that they utilize. Some of the things, accessorials are things that are in addition to, that you're going to, as a broker, you're going to bill the shipper in addition to the shipper paying a normal rate of that load that's going to the carrier. So,
Right.
so exactly. So examples of accessorials that you got to be mindful of, especially for new brokers: detention,
Right.
lumper,
Mm-hmm.
stop charges.
Stop charges. What's that?
Stop charges is if it's multiple stops on a load, then every stop you're going to charge for that.
Right.
Because
like $20, $25 a stop.
Exactly. TONU, truck order not used.
Right.
TONU, and then layover. Those are the five main ones that applies to, irregardless of the three major equipment type. Those are the five main accessorial charges. There are others, pallet exchange, all this other stuff, right? But those are the five main ones, whether it's a dry van, flatbed, or reefer, okay? So you want to, so when the shipper says, "I need you to quote a lane," you say, "Okay, I need your email, because I'm going to give me a few hours. I'll send you an email with some of the things I need to ask you so you can answer that, so I can give you a better quote." And then once you get that information and you ask the questions that I just mentioned, that where's it picking up, going to, and everything, then you got to decide. Let's say that lane, he gave you a lane from Miami to Atlanta, Georgia for a dry van. What you do next as a broker, you go into your load board and you look at the spot market rate for that lane. See what the spot market rate is paying to that truck, to a truck. You put Miami to Atlanta for a dry van, and you hit search. You just do a general search for a load, and you see what the standard rate is or the spot market rate that's being paid currently
Yeah.
to the truck.
It says on that, it says average, it says 90-day average.
It'll say 90-day average. And it'll say what the rate is. Let's say that lane is paying, let's see, Miami to Atlanta, that's not that many miles, right? That's about what, 700-800 miles or so.
Not 600, about.
Okay.
Yeah, about a good 600 in like.
Okay, so for a dry van, let's say it's going to, let's say it's paying like 600 miles. Let's say it's paying 1,800, right?
18.
That's to the truck. Now, as a broker, you're quoting this to the shipper, so you got to add your margins in there so you can make your money, right? As a broker.
Right.
So broker's margins is anywhere between 15 to 20%. So you're going to take 1,800. Let's say it paid 1,800 to the truck because you got that information from a load board.
Right.
So you take 1,800 and let's say you charge 17% for your margins per load, right? Per lane. So you're going to take You're going to take 1,800 times 17%, which is $306. You're going to add that back to the 1,800, and so 1,800.
It's going to be 11. Yeah, I mean not 11, but $2,106.
Yeah, 2,106. So you go back to the shipper. You say, and you send them an email. You say, okay, our rate for this. The shipper's going to say my target rate is $1,950 or $2,000. You'll say, well, we can do it for $2,150 or $2,200. And let's say that shipper gives you that load tender for that amount. So now, and so a shipper, if they want to give you a load, they're going to present you with what's called a load tender. You as a broker has to accept that load tender, right?
Okay.
Just because they present it to you doesn't necessarily mean you have to accept it.
Right.
You got to look that lane up, see what the spot market rate is to the truck, add your margin in, and see if you can still make a decent amount of money from it. If you can't, then I wouldn't accept that load tender. I would say, no, thank you, right? But let's say, for example, you did. You accept the load tender. The shipper now wants you to send them a broker shipper agreement, right? So I'm going to show you mine. So as a broker, you're going to have you got to set up two different packets for your brokerage. You got to set up a broker shipper packet and a broker carrier packet. Right, because I'm assuming you are a non-asset based brokerage. Well, you have a truck and trailer, so you could be an asset based.
Yeah. I have a totally separate transportation, trucking company.
Right, so you could use
trucks and trailer.
So you're asset based.
Right.
So as a broker, you need two different packet types. When you get your customers and get those accounts, that's the shipper. You need a broker shipper packet. You got to put that together. And then you need a broker carrier packet. So on the broker shipper packet, let me show you what that looks like. You need a broker shipper agreement. You could create one standard. I got a copy of my PDF of my back office of my training. What a broker.
I want to cut you right there for a second. Hey, you think you could email us, like a template or like a copy of these forms, like the shipper broker shipper package and broker carrier package, like a template, that we could pretty much copy.
Let me see if this is because this is one right here. This is what a can you see my screen?
Yeah.
This is what a general, and this is just an example, what a broker shipper agreement looks like with all the verbiage. It's like 5 pages. And you can just take it, remake it, and just put your information in it, replace it.
Right.
Read through it.
You made this one up or you downloaded it from?
Look, this is just an example that you get online. You just download it, just Google it, download it, and just use it as an example. I got some other ones that I created from a brokerage that I'm working with.
Cornerstone systems.
Yeah, so let me see if I can bring that over. I'm about to go on my system to see if I can bring a file over to you, if it's possible.
Hey, my wife was okay. She didn't catch the part
mean, I heard you say it, but she was saying that she didn't get the part where you said like, okay, she want to know exactly what would you say when you're cold calling, like what would you actually say to what
Yeah, there's several things to say, but I'll give you one that I got a script. But here I sent through the chat a sample broker shipper agreement. Did you get it in the chat? It's a Word document.
The chat open, but I don't see anything.
I just typed hello in the chat.
Okay, I see hello.
Now, do you see above that there was a Word document I just sent to you? Okay, I'll send it again. File sample has been sent successfully. I sent it twice. So type your email into the chat.
Nealy brokerage. It might be coming in. Let's cross this one off. No, come on. I mean, just keep going. And logistics.
I'm gonna open up my email on my on my side, and okay. Is that Nealy? It's Nealy with one L or two?
No, one.
Okay, Nealy brokerage and logistics at Gmail. Okay, so let me open up my email real quick, and I want to send you a sample broker shipper and a broker carrier agreement. Okay, is that cool?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so let me log in real quick. Okay. And I'm going to copy what you just typed in the chat, put it over here. All right. And then put shipper and carrier packets. All right. Here you go.
And in the template of in the script that you said you got, that you say to the shipping when you first.
So what I'm gonna do for you guys, I'm gonna send you my whole starter kit, but you got most of it. You're already a broker, so I don't need to send you the OP1, the MCS 150, the surety bond, the trust fund, BLC. You don't need none of that. You don't need a UCR. You do need you got a certificate. You got a certificate of insurance. You got. So I'm gonna send you the Raycon load tender, BOL, my ebook, and I'm gonna send you a shippers list, a 2020 shippers database. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to send, where did I get that from? Agility. Okay. I'm also going to send Agility. I'm dealing with Agility Freight sample broker and sample shipper packets. Okay. So there we go. So that's a lot of information right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, it's sending. I don't know why it's taking so long, but it's sending. Okay, it's sent. Okay. So in the shipper packet that you send to the shipper, you send the broker shipper agreement, and then you send your credentials to the shipper. Do you guys have a factoring company?
Not yet, but I have that like Monday, tomorrow.
Okay. So in the broker shipper agreement, you send your credentials along with the broker shipper agreement. You send a copy of your authority, your broker authority, You send a copy of either your, I'm assuming you guys got a BMC 84, which is the surety bond. You don't have a trust fund, right? Surety bond?
Yeah, surety bond.
Okay, so right, so you send it 84. You send a copy of your W-9 for your brokerage. And then you send a copy of your insurance. What kind of insurance do you got? Contingent cargo, errors and omissions, general liability?
On the brokerage company?
Right.
No, we don't have any. The only insurance we have is the surety bond and stuff like that.
Okay, so most shippers nowadays are starting to require brokerages to get some type of insurance in addition to your carriers having insurance. So your contracted or your asset-based carriers, they may have insurance with their liability and cargo, right? But shippers, customers, to get those accounts, they are also requiring brokers now to have some insurance. And the three types of insurances that they are requiring is either contingent cargo, errors and omissions, or liability. And I'll tell you why. Liability, you got a brokerage, right? And you got a brick and mortar building. Someone gets hurt in that building. That's where liability kicks in for your broker side. Errors and omission is in case a broker make a mistake. Let's say it's called E&O. Let's say that you're a broker, you get a flatbed shipper. One of the requirements for those flatbed lanes is that the loads be tarped, right?
Right.
You get a load tender, you neglect to tell the carrier that load should have been tarped on the Raycon. So the carrier doesn't know, it's not the carrier's fault, they didn't know. So the carrier gets to the shipper to pick that load up, they strap it in, but they don't tarp it. They get to the receiver rejects the load because it should have been tarped.
Right.
That's an example of errors and omissions. They either mistakenly did it or they omitted it all outright. That falls on the broker. So the E&O insurance covers that because that broker has to buy that load now. It got rejected. They either got to resell that load or do what's called a reconsignment. They have to reconsign it they have to take it to another location to reconsign it or buy that freight itself. But the insurance covers that. And then the third type is contingent cargo. So this is on top of your carrier, your approved carrier's cargo insurance, which is $100,000. You as a broker also may have $100,000 cargo contingent.
$100,000 on trucking.
Right, $100,000 on the trucking side, but shippers may require an additional contingent cargo on top because the freight in what you're hauling for that shipper may be valued at more than $100,000. That cargo may be valued at more than $100,000. So you have to have a contingent cargo on top of that and you'll know that when you talk to a shipper, they'll let you know that, you have to have this if you want these loads. Okay.
Okay. Now I want to say one thing right quick. All right, we're going to only be targeting dry van.
Okay. Right.
No flatbeds, no wide loads, no nothing.
Okay.
That's 53 footers dry van. That's it. So what type of insurance?
I would say either I would say contingent cargo. If you are absolutely certain as a beginner broker that you're not going to make any mistakes in your brokerage, if you can guarantee yourself that, then you don't need to have E&O, errors and omissions, right?
Right.
But you're taking a risk there. I'm just saying though, but
yeah, no, I'm not gonna take that risk. I'm gonna get that insurance tomorrow. So you say
contingent cargo and errors and omission. So whoever your commercial insurance company, huh?
No, okay. When you say contingent, and is that one or that's two separate?
They're two separate.
Okay.
Contingent cargo is one type of insurance coverage. Errors and omissions is another type.
So, but you suggested that I have both.
I suggested you have both if you believe that, if you think you're not going to make any mistakes as a beginner broker, then you wouldn't need errors and omissions. But again, you're taking a risk.
Yeah. Nah, anybody can make a mistake. Yeah.
There you go.
So I get both.
Okay.
So, like on the which one is it's like cheaper? Because I know.
Contingent.
Okay. Contingent is around like what? Like, give me a ballpark figure of like.
It's hard to say. It varies on. I don't know who your commercial insurance provider is, like Progressive or something.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah, I go on my phone. Oh. It's grip and shells 101. Yeah. Okay, yeah, my bad, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. So we was okay. So the yeah, I'm gonna get that tomorrow. The contingent and what was the other one? Contingent and
Errors and omissions.
oh, errors and omission. Okay.
Right. So now back to your broker shipper agreement and your packet that you're going to send a potential shipper.
Right.
You got your credentials in there, and then you got your insurance, whatever it is, contingent cargo, E&O, whatever it is, and then you got a credit application from your factory company, because your factory company needs to run the credit of the shipper to make sure that their DTP, their days to pay, is good and everything like that, and that they're factorable. Yeah. So that's on the broker shipper side. I don't know why this is offline right here, my website, but on the carrier side, you need a broker carrier agreement. I sent you an email of everything. Hopefully you got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
So the broker carrier agreement contains the broker carrier agreement, and then what you need from the carrier. You need a profile of that carrier profile, carrier's MC authority, W-9, their certificate of insurance, and then an NOA form if they have a factory company, because their NOA form is going to run a credit on you, the broker, to make sure that you pay on time.
Right.
That's the whole. Yeah, it works both ways, so to speak. You know?
Right.
So that's that on that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now your wife was asking about the script to say to a shipper potentially, right?
Okay.
Okay. So one script, I'm going to read one that I have written down. So when you call, when you call a facility to talk to a shipper potentially, the first person you may get a hold of is someone who answers the phone, like a receptionist or something like that. We call them the gatekeeper, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get past the gatekeeper. One strategy to get past the gatekeeper is when you call them, you don't ask for the person you want to speak to directly. You don't ask for the shipping department. You may ask can I speak to somebody in sales? They'll connect you to somebody in sales, and then when you connect to somebody in sales, you say, "Oh man, I'm sorry, they misdirected me. I need to talk to somebody in shipping." So they'll redirect you from sales to you see what I just did, right?
Yeah.
That's an easy technique, because sometimes shipping will tell the receptionist, if you get a call asking for me, don't patch nobody through. I'm at lunch or I'm busy or whatever, right? So you go to sales and then have sales patch you through the shipping. They're gonna pick the phone up. Right. Or and when you're in sales, hey, before you patch me through, what's that person's name? And email, and just in case we get disconnected. So now you kind of finagling it a little bit, right? Yeah. So once you get through to shipping, hey, this is Bob. Hey, Bob. And I'm reading right now, okay? So, hey, Bob, I was wondering whether or not you were working on a situation where you had some lanes available that you hadn't been able to cover, or whether or not you had some freight that you had some brokers fall off on, okay? Because it's a possibility that this shipper worked with other brokers. It just so happened that broker's carriers may have fell off on it. They didn't pick the load up on time. Something happened. There was an emergency. So, and then you go from there, and then you say, perhaps, I'm gonna reread it too. I was wondering whether or not you were working on it, and you could tweak this, right? So I'm gonna go slow because the missus, maybe she's writing this down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was wondering whether or not you were working on a situation, okay, where you had, and I'm going to send, this is being recorded. I'm going to send you a copy of this recording too, right? So you can actually go back and review it, okay? I was wondering whether or not you were working on a situation where you had some lanes available that you hadn't been able to cover. Or, and this is continuing in the script, or whether or not you had some freight that you had some brokers fall off on. Okay, so that's the first question. It's kind of a long one. You can kind of tweak it how you want, but it's kind of long, okay? The next part, perhaps I might be able to help you with that problem, kind of lend some solutions to that problem. As a broker, you are a problem solver.
Right. Matchmaking.
Correct.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask one thing. Can you be specific? Like I say, hey, I was wondering if you had any lanes available from Georgia, from Atlanta to Miami, consistent.
Or even before that, you might want to ask them, sir or ma'am, what are your lanes and what are the lanes that you're having the most difficulty moving freight in? Then they'll tell you, from Miami up to Georgia, we're having a hard time with that. Most carriers don't want to come down here because they think that they can't get no loads out of Florida.
Yeah.
So you can phrase it. Yeah, you can phrase it that way. So what are your most difficult lanes? What is that? Where they're picking up, where they're delivering to? What are the lanes that you're having the hardest time with moving freight? And I'll try to focus on getting carriers to solve that problem. I want your toughest lane. I want the opportunity to prove to you that I can broker your toughest lanes. What are they? They'll say, oh, okay, dry van, Miami, Florida to Atlanta, Georgia. Or Miami, Florida to, what is that little town right outside of Georgia, right outside of Florida when you cross the Tifton, Georgia. They got a whole host of distribution centers in Tifton. So yeah, exactly. So another part too, are you having any other problems with getting your partials or LTL freight moved? Because there are shippers have partials and they have LTL freight. You can even target that. And as brokers, ask about not only outbound freight, but ask about their inbound freight. Who are you getting your inbound freight from? Give you some leads, right? Some references, because you may be talking to a shipper who does outbound. Their lanes are outbound, but they get their materials to build those products inbound from somewhere else, right? So don't as a broker, don't shortchange yourself, but just by asking about outbound freight, ask about inbound lanes too, because they got to bring in the material to make the stuff that they got to ship out, right?
Of course.
So all that stuff came from other places.
Right.
So you can ask, so you can reference that too.
So you want a piece of that pie too, yeah?
Why? Hey, why not? Yeah. Exactly. Don't limit yourself. So as a broker, I every time I talk to brokers, I always ask them, do you ask about inbound freight too? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what am I talking about? Okay, so you're at a manufacturer, right? You're asking about stuff that's been made and needs to be shipped out. So where's the plastic bags? Where's the boxes that they got to put the stuff in? Where's the materials that they make the stuff with? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, where's the raw supply?
Where's the raw materials, right? So like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Exactly. That stuff just don't pop up there. It has to get shipped there. Right? So, okay.
I just want to ask you right quick, so what would be some of the solutions, like if they ask, okay then, all right then, so you ask me what would be my most difficult, situation with, the lanes, and if they say, okay then, well, how can you help me?
Okay, well, how can you help me? Well,
I respond if they say, well, okay, I have a problem with coming out of Florida. And then, so what would be my solution to their problem?
Okay, well, we are here at Nealy Freight Brokers and Logistics Incorporated or whatever, right? We specialize in this, and this, right? Since you know already that you're targeting only dry van type of commodities, then you would need to become familiar with what are the problems that could potentially happen in the transport of dry van freight, and then what those solutions will be. So we focus on having on-time carriers. We vet our carriers. We don't send any carriers with CSA scores that are not acceptable in the industry. We track our carriers with Macro Point or whatever tracking software we use. We do check calls on our carriers. When they pick the load up, they got to let us know. They got to give us the BOL number before they pull off that dock. And then when they're in transit, we call them, do a check call at least halfway through just to see where they are, any problems. We also instruct them if there's any problem, call us. We are real big on communication, because if something happens with the carrier, we want to make sure we tell you, Mr. Shipper, so that you can make your proper changes to be, to be on time with us. So,
Keep things going.
right. So we always want to keep the lines of communication open between the carrier, us, the broker, and you, our customer, so we can keep that account going smoothly for you. There will never be a time that you will not be able to get a hold of us. We are always available, 24/7, 365, whether it's phone, text, email, smoke signals, pigeon, whatever, right?
Right.
So you want to reassure your potential customer before they give you that account that if I'm a shipper, I say, okay, what guarantees I have, Mr. Broker? I'm sitting there with my arms folded. What guarantees I have, Mr. Broker, that I can call on you whenever I need to? And if something's going on with the driver, you'll tell me so I can make the proper changes to accommodate. Let's say your driver's running late, he got a flat tire. How would I know that unless somebody called me? So you, Mr. Broker, say, yes, you're exactly right. Any potential casualties, and that's a bad word, any potential casualties in the industry in transportation with our carrier, as far as casualties, as far as flat tires, he's at a weigh station and he's getting a level 1 or level 3 inspection by DOT that's going to slow him down and potentially put him out of service. We got to let you know, make you aware of it. And then we, as the broker, make our potential changes. We got to get another truck out there, another power only unit. They drop that trailer, we pick it up and continue in that route. Whatever the situation is, Mr. Shipper, we can almost guarantee that we've been in these situations before, and we have the proper protocols to handle any situations that occur.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it seems like we only got about maybe 15 couple minutes.
That's fine. That's
okay.
fine.
Okay, so when do the rate confirmations come in?
You produce the rate confirmations as a broker. So the shipper, here's the life cycle of brokering. Shipper gives the broker a load tender. Broker either accepts or rejects the load tender. Let's assume you accept it. Broker puts the data from the load tender. A load tender is just nothing but the details about the load. Where is it picking up from? Where is it going to? Piece count, pallet counts, all that stuff, right? So
and that goes on the load board.
That goes in the load. That goes in the TMS system.
Okay.
Because you're putting the load tender information in the TMS system to build a rate confirmation to give to the carrier.
Right.
Minus, and you're not gonna give the value of the load tender in the. You're not gonna put the dollar amount of the load tender that the shipper awarded you. Let's say $5,000. You're not gonna put that on a rate confirmation and give it to the carrier for $5,000, right? Because you're gonna lose. You're not making no money. So you're putting the $5,000 load tender that the shipper gave you in your TMS system. You're creating that rate confirmation and you're changing the numbers minus your margins, right? So let's say you charge 20% margin, $5,000, 20% of that is $1,000. So you're producing a rate confirmation for $4,000 to the carrier and you're keeping the change, $1,000. Here's how it works. Load tender, $5,000, create the rate confirmation with some of the same information. You're just changing the number on the rate confirmation to $4,000 for the carrier. Put that on the load board. Carrier calls you onboard the carrier through your broker onboarding process. You send them your broker carrier agreement. They send that back filled out along with their credentials, their MC number, certificate of insurance, their whole packet. You process that, approve them, compliance, approve them everything. You send them that rate confirmation. They sign that, send that back to you. Now the load is officially booked. When that carrier delivers that load and gets that signed BOL, which is also called a POD, proof of delivery, they are going to send that to you so they can get paid for the $4,000. You're going to take that as proof. you're gonna invoice your shipper for $5,000 because that shipper owes you $5,000. You pay $4,000 to the carrier for delivering it, and you keep the change, right?
Right.
That's how that works.
Does it go? Okay. When the driver sends that, the bill of lading to the broker, do you send it to the shipper or do you send that to your factoring company?
So if you are,
the factoring company will send that to the shipper.
That's correct. If you got a factoring company, then you funnel all that because the factoring company now is going to front you all the upfront money. They front up to about 90% of the value, and then they keep about 10% in reserve, right? And then they'll release the rest once the shipper pays. That's how factoring companies. Now I don't know if you got recourse or non-recourse factoring. I don't know what they charge per invoice. Okay.
Non-recourse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they charge you for your invoices, like 2.5% to 5%. I don't know what they charge you.
3%.
Okay, that's cool. So you send on. So once the carrier.
If you don't have a factoring company, then you gotta wait on the shipper to pay.
Right, and most shippers are like
it's a saying out. Well, it's not a saying, but they said that the shippers have up to. Most of them have those quick pay packets, or they have up to 30 days to pay you.
Negative. Most shippers are net 30, net 45, or net 60. Those are days. That's most shippers. Most shippers do not have factoring companies. If you are a broker and don't have a factoring company, you will be out of business very soon if you have to rely on the money from a shipper. Right. So you got to have a factoring company when you deal with the shippers because they don't care. They're a shipper. I'm gonna pay you whenever. When you sign that broker shipper agreement, they tell you their terms of payment on there: net 30, net 45, or net 60. That's why people got to read that and make sure that those payment terms that you are agreeing with, especially if you don't have a factoring company. But again, if you are a broker without a factoring company, especially starting out, you hustling backwards.
I know, because I went through that. I went through that when I opened up my trucking company, and I was saying, I didn't really want no factoring company because I didn't want them taking out no money. I didn't want them taking out 3%.
Yeah, but listen to this.
When I started broken loads, it just weren't about getting paid from the shipper. From the broker, man. It'd be like 30 days. It'd be weeks. Even
exactly.
though they would have like a little quick pay thing, which is like 3 days or something like that, 3 or 4 days. They'll ACH you the money. But then sometimes something to go wrong with that. So I say, you know what? To not even be dealing with the problems and the games.
Right.
Just get a factoring company. Just pay the little 3%.
Right. So most outside of a factoring company, most brokers have 3 payment options on their broker carrier agreement. Quick pay, which is 1 to 2 days, 24 to 48 hours. They charge up to 5%. And you can offer this as a service to your carriers because you have a factoring company. You could offer fuel advances, fuel cards as a service because your factoring company offers additional services to kind of lure you in to take advantage of their company. So right. Brokers offer quick pay, 1 to 2 days, up to 5%. ACH transfer, which is ACH stands for Automated Clearinghouse. That's a wire transfer. They require a voided check, or you have to give them the routing and the account number of the money you want to transfer to. That's 5 to 7 days. They charge up to 3% of that. And then the third option of the broker, the third one is the paper check. It just mailed to your house 15 to 30 days out. So if a carrier does not have a factoring company, of course, they're going to take the best option with the broker, which is quick pay. So I would take a 3% hit. If I got a $5,000 load and the broker's going to charge me 3%, which is $150, I'm getting paid. I'll give you $150 for $5,000. I'm not going to miss $150. I'm getting $5,000, right? I don't care about I'm paying more than that in fuel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to miss $150. Here, take this. Give me my $4,000 and some change. You know what I'm saying? So, so sometimes carriers got to look at they got to weigh the pros and cons against, before they decide that. So,
right quick. Can you run it down again about Dun and Bradstreet?
So the Dun and Bradstreet, getting the Dun and Bradstreet, that's just a way to build credit for your brokerage. It's just another way to build credit. You can do a DMV number. You can do a business line of credit, a business loan. You can open up a business credit card somewhere. You can go to Staples. So if you're trying to build credit for your brokerage, let's say you got to buy some materials for your office, like computers, laptop printers, and stuff like that. Go to Staples, Best Buy, Office Max, get a little $500 credit card, charge it to get your materials, write it off as a business expense, pay that off when it's due, and that'll help build your credit up right there. You just built your business credit up. So,
okay. What the Dun and Bradstreet?
The Dun and Bradstreet is just an identifier for your business in an effort to build credit up as well. That's all it is.
Okay.
I have one for my training portal. That's all it is. I mean, it doesn't. There's other ones too. There's Paydex. Shippers have a credit score. That's called a Paydex. But Dun and Bradstreet, look that up real quick.
Credit intelligence. Dun and Bradstreet scores.
So right here, it's basically just a unique 9-digit identifier for businesses. This number is assigned once patent identifier. So it's just basically an identifier for your business. You reference your business. It helps lenders and creditors identify who you are in an effort to establish credit. That's essentially what it is.
Okay, so you just go to Dun and Bradstreet and then you just register.
Yeah, you register for a number. They're going to ask you your business name, your EIN number. So you have to have a business already set up, a legal business set up, because they're going to ask you for legal type of business stuff. They're going to ask you for your business name. They're going to ask you for your EIN number, which is your social for your business. Right. So because they want to identify you before they give you this random DUNS number, they need to attach it to a real business. Okay. That's how that works.
Okay. Yeah, I got all that.
Okay. Okay. So that's let's see what else. So you already got the other stuff. Basically, you're worried about your first thing is getting shippers, and then you want to go through that first life cycle of moving that first load. So you gotta have all your stuff in place. You gotta have your. I know a broker who's moving loads without a TMS system. They just got a regular spreadsheet right now, or they're just writing it down on paper until they get enough money to afford a TMS system. Ascend is the cheapest.
How much the TMS run?
Well, Ascend, you can get an Ascend one that's a basic one, or an Ascend premium for I think it's like $49 a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
And
so
that's
through that, but I'm gonna just be dealing with that.
Right. So you can get a Ascend TMS, and right here, this is Ascend. You can look that up and put all your. So this is Ascend. This is a TMS. TMS is Transportation Management Software. Let me log into mine just to give you to look at the user interface. So it's pretty user friendly. It gives you stuff in real time. This is the site. This is where you'll be working at. So all your loads will come in either through EDI or paper tenders. EDI is an electronic way. EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange. It's where you and the shipper has an electronic connection. When they send you a tender, they can send it electronically. So it comes into your TMS system, and a lot of stuff is automatically populated, so you don't have to do it manually when you're creating the rate confirmations. It's already populated.
That's what RMIS.
Well, the RMIS is an RMIS, Registry Monitoring Insurance Service. That's an onboarding process on the carrier side and the broker. That's where you send the carrier a link to your RMIS account. They click the link, they put their DOT and MC in it, and then it populates your system with their information, because carrier's information is a matter of public record. It's DOT and FMCSA information. It just populates it quicker so you can onboard carriers faster, so you can move that load quicker. Okay.
Right. But they actually called me and they said they monitor brokering companies too.
Yes,
Like,
that's
you know, they told me that they'll handle all of the rate confirmations and all of that. Well, that was for the carriers.
right. That's on the carrier side.
Oh,
Yeah, this is it right here. That's on the carrier side. So when they said that they're telling the truth. They are, because they're either transportation insurance or property management. They are a registry monitoring insurance service. They're compliance. They are compliance and onboard experts. So they got an onboarding system where they do it electronically, digitally. They will integrate your brokerage into their system, and all you got to do is send the link to your carriers to click to onboard faster. As opposed to you attaching your broker carrier agreement to an email and emailing it to the carrier. They got to print it out somewhere at a truck stop. Who knows if the internet's working or if the printer's working? They got to do all that. So it takes longer. But if you can send them something digitally to do it quicker, they could be on their phone while they're being loaded or offloaded on the loading dock. They could be getting onboarded with your brokerage for their next load. You know what I'm saying? So it streamlines the process.
yeah, but they charge $350 a month.
Oh yeah, you're paying for the service, yeah. But your brokerage, I would consider getting this later on down the line when you get about 3 or 4 shippers, and you need to do it now because you got all these loads you got to move. You want to onboard these quick carriers quicker. So when you get enough shippers and enough revenue to support paying this expense, then yes, you should consider, at that point. Right now, I would just get like an e-signature type of software like DocuSign, PDF Filler, Doc Hub, and I would just import my PDF broker carrier agreement into that, make it an editable document, and then send that to the carrier, let them fill them out on their phones and hit submit, and that'll come back to you filled out too. So that's a way to do it also.
Right. No, that's the way I'm gonna do it because, like you say, $350 right now to do something yourself. You know what I mean? Because like when before you said something about like Doc Hub or something like that, like they would have to find a truck stop to download the paperwork and then fill it out.
Correct.
And then send it back. Yeah,
Correct.
of course. They would probably be like, hey, I'm not going to even deal with that brokering company. That load ain't all that. They go through all that. But this you said, you can integrate that into with Doc Hub, and so they can be able to do all that right there on their phone without having to download all the paperwork and all that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we don't really need RMIS. Really.
Well, not at the moment, no. Not at the moment. Because you don't even have a shipper yet. So you don't want to put the cart before the horse. You don't even have a shipper yet, but you still want to at least outline how your back office brokerage infrastructure should be set up and the things that you eventually going to want to have as a brokerage. Right? You want to at least outline that so you'll know for future reference. So as you grow and as you get more shippers and get traction in your brokerage, then you'll say, okay, maybe we need to graduate from doing it this way and getting, a little bit more correct.
What are the other classes that he offers?
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, she said, what other classes that you offer dealing with brokering?
Right now, I just have the Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. I got there Tuesdays and Friday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. We go over, like, for people who are brand new, who haven't even started a brokerage, how to set that up. You guys are past that point. And then we got the Friday classes more for people who got new brokerages but need strategies to get shippers, to set their back office infrastructure up. What are the things to say, how to communicate with carriers, things that you need starting out as a new brokerage, how to build credit, just all types of stuff. So that's basically what we do. I'm on more the beginner level, maybe kind of intermediate level, as far as sharing information with new brokers and help them avoid the pitfalls. So
we can call you at any anytime, brother, you know, get a little information.
You get, yes, sir. You can. You got my You got
Yeah,
my
I got the
Yep.
number, email. You know, we could just mail back. You know, if we run into a little, you know, to a little barrier. You know,
Right.
You know,
And if it's and if you really want my time, and if it's more than 30 or 60 minutes, you can set up the consultation. But if it's something less than that, you can just simply text me or call. That's not a problem.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. We appreciate the information.
Yes, brother. We appreciate everything.
Nope.
And you know, like I said, we run into anything else, we will be giving you a shout, bro.
Yeah, I know. There's a brokerage down there in your area. You guys are in Miami. They are in, I think they're in Ocala, Florida. That's north of you. They're called Agility Freight. They're going through my class. They're Agility Freight. They deal with air and sea freight. They're doing land freight now with reefers. You guys are doing drive-ins. Just want to maybe connect you guys together since you guys are in the general vicinity of each other in Florida, and get some pointers from them too. You can come in. You can come in Tuesday, or well, they'll be in the training on next Friday. You can come in my training as a guest next Friday. Use this same sign-in link, this same Zoom thing to come in with the credentials and stuff. Come in Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as a guest. Agility will be there. I will introduce you two guys. You guys are well. It's 3 women and 1 guy that makes up their company. And you guys, since you guys are close together, you might be able to network with one another.
Yeah, definitely.
And that way, because I like to connect people to kind of build each other up. So.
Okay. So next Friday at around 6.
Next Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yep, I have my trainings on here on the site. You know, I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but
Yeah, I see it.
Yep. Tuesdays at 6 p.m. for the beginners. Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for intermediate advanced. So Fridays. Okay.
Okay. All right, brother, man. So, you know, I appreciate everything, man.
No problem. Anytime, bro.
All right. So we'll talk to you next time.
All right. You guys take it easy. Have a good weekend.
Okay, man. You too, bro.
All right.